Hello and welcome to Series 3 of Nisht For Me. That rhymes.
It does, and we're back.
We're bloody back, yeah.
We are.
Yeah.
Not only are we back, but we're back with a bloody sponsor.
We've got a sponsor, yeah, absolutely.
With thanks to Cooker, the hot tap people.
Yeah, they know what they're doing with the hot tap.
A proud new sponsor of Nisht For Me.
Yeah.
Very organic, because I actually do have one, and I'm in love with it, but we'll get to that at a later
And I
date.
want one, but I'll be speaking to their people about that. When I pluck up the courage.
So what that means is now we've got a whole lot of stuff.
We've got loads of new kit. We've got like professional microphones and stands. There's loads of boxes down here.
Loads of professionally still in the boxes.
Very much still in the box. Do not know how to use any of it. So you'll just soak in the increased quality that may come at some point in the future.
Perhaps surprise to whoever spots when we have finally figured out how to work it.
Yeah, well, you'll see we'll have those big, cool microphones in front of us. I did consider setting them up but not using them, to just not mentioning it, but I figured we might get rumbled.
So it's a thrill to be back.
Absolutely.
We have actually been on the sly working on this series, in preparation, interviewing some brilliant guests.
We've recorded quite a few already, actually.
Yeah, we've really batch cooked a lot.
Cooker are definitely going to see the money's worth of that new kit. For the last one of the series, maybe.
But having done 10 things we learned from our Jewish grandparents,
yes,
that was a lot of you really enjoyed.
Yeah, it was a popular one.
Yeah, we thought we'd flip the script.
How else can we milk our family for content?
Let's use the same formula and twist it, which, by the way, is how I edit a lifestyle section of a magazine. But,
lovely.
We thought today we would do 10 things we've learned from our Jewish children.
Yeah, those little fuckers. Beautiful little cherubs. With
the caveat that we are fully aware that our children are not, we're out the baby stage, but we're not, they're still little. We're got 7.
Our eldest is 7 and a half-ish.
Yeah,
actually, that's not, but 7-ish.
Yeah.
And the little ones are 4.5, yeah.
So we're in that in-between phase where, I still point out a tractor, it's a reflex. You've got to point out a tractor. Sometimes they're not even in the car, but it just happens. And in that stage where you're still quite relieved by an unceremonious poo. Do you know what I mean?
An unceremonious, as in
a no drama poo. A poo that just happens.
Yeah.
Without any drama, without any.
Rare still.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm saying you still feel the sweet relief of when that happens.
That's sweet, especially if there's one that requires occasionally we'll be getting ready for the bath. I mean, I feel like poor Nat's going to grow up and just be like, what have you done to me?
Going to have to delete all of this.
Probably, yeah.
Of age.
But no, there'll be occasional times before the bath where he's having a poo and he'll wipe someone and he's like, one wipe, all gone. And I'm like, my man.
But it's not even the way, it's just when they do a poo, they just quietly go off and do a poo at the right time, before you're about to get onto a car journey or something. You're like, that's a relief. I'm thinking that feeling wears off as the children get older. You don't feel the same relief. And that's what I'm saying. That's a marker of our stage of parenthood, I think.
Yeah, it's still hard and we're in it, and I'm sure we'll get to that. But
we're crawling out the trenches, I think, It might be that. So we're very aware of that. We'd like to just also say, absolutely fuck off to people who say, just you wait.
Oh, yeah. Because
nothing is less helpful than other parents with older children telling you...
It's going to get worse,
It's going to get worse. I mean, how is that helpful? Because also, I can tell people with babies right now, it doesn't. It's not worse than the baby stage for me.
No. Yeah.
Anyway, so with all that sort of a disclaimer out the way...
Yeah, let's get into what we've learned from our kids.
Our Jewish little...
So we'll do it as we did it last time. We'll take them, kind of one by one.
Yeah.
Right, do you want to kick us off then?
Yeah, yes, sure. So we have sort of covered this in I think it was the back to school one.
Right.
The joy of being Jewish comes, my children maximise that to the nth degree. And that is obviously largely down to them attending a Jewish school at this point in time. But I mean, we have talked about I think the kids coming home from her being obsessed with Hashem. Mikey has since started reception, and his rabbinical fervour is like nothing else. He is obsessed. He's quite into the tunes, and so he's singing but he doesn't know all the words, but he just styles it out. So he's like it's almost doing the tune to benching as he's playing with his cars, or you just hear na 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 na, like
I can't place that.
What's the na 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 na? You know how the way that they pray in like that kind of like
a sort
singy
of
songy, like
monotonous kind of drone.
Yeah, and like there's just always singing some sort of Jewish tune. I mean, it's like it's March hours. It's nearly Pesach. He's still singing Matzah. He loves it.
Lovely.
Bloody loves Matzah. Like Lily was like. About 2 months after Hanukkah, I was like, when will he stop? And I had to explain that I had the concept of, I said, it's like a broken record. And she obviously had no concept of what that was. And when I did explain it, she was like, can you fix a broken record? But he just loves it and it's gorgeous. And he's like putting onto everything. Like, I remember
he sounds like he's 83.
He is, I think. We went to Marbella. And
lovely.
And he said, Anna, you're like, he's like, I said, these are from Auntie Anna. He was like, Auntie Anna.
That's brilliant.
Loves it. He absolutely loves
excellent.
it. And he did. Hanukkah was a peak time, and like, he was singing a lot of Sevi Von Sov 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 at the top of his voice in the gym changing room, which was a bit like exposure therapy to me. But I remember saying that to Jamie. He was like, well, nobody knows what he's singing. Next week it was Hanukkah, light my menorah, which is very explicit, but also it's good. They should be singing it out loud.
Absolutely.
And proud.
So we are big fans of the Uncle Moishe Hanukkah soundtrack.
Sure, classic.
So it's the same songs. I think you're a big fan of I think you listen to the Bare Naked Ladies version of Hanukkah.
Yeah.
The Uncle Moishe version means that Nat really got into like his sort of Brooklyn Yiddish accent. So it's like, Hanukkah, we light the menorah. Let's have a party, we'll all dance the hoira. So that's how he now pronounces menorah. Like, how many candles on the menorah tonight?
I love it. So Yiddish. But I mean, I think what is so nice is, like, as you get older, being Jewish, like, it loses its sort of sex appeal a bit. It's like, it feels like there's a lot of rules, there's a lot of obligation, the joy of it does wear off because the joy of being a child wears off. Yeah. But it's so nice, like, having that sort of, that recall. And I remember it specifically and quite potently, the kids' Hanukkah play was the day after the Bondi Beach terror attack. Yeah. And obviously that, was just... all our hearts broke again, like not long after Heaton Park, and seeing the kids up there sort of relishing the Hanukkah spirit.
It was great.
It was so great. Like, I remember Mikey just sort of stood there waiting to do Sevivon with his hands in his pockets. Him and his mates just put like very stressed sort of football managers on the sideline with their hands in their pockets waiting, and all of a sudden, hands above head, pointed triangle, Sevivon. That sort of Bollywood. They don't trust them to do a full circle because they'll fall off the stage.
My favourite bit of that play was there was a kid, didn't belong to either of us, but he'd sort of, I think he was year one, and he did his bit, and then he literally ran off stage and went, Dad, I've done my bit! Like, while some other bit was going on, I was like, yes, I respect that enormously.
I'm done, I'm completely done. And then when they sung that song, which I think we might have sung to Dave Rich when he was...
the sort of upbeat banger.
Light. I mean, the fact that we did sing that to Dave Rich, I think really reflects our USP. I don't think Dave Rich has as many interviews, but they love it so much and they did it twice. They just, you could see their faces, and I mean, it is a tune.
It is banger.
And it was just, it just completely filled your cup up. I mean, look, there is, when something horrific happens to the Jewish community and you send your kids to a Jewish school, there is inevitably element of anxiety. Yeah. But that's immediately, well, for me anyway, it felt like immediately squashed by the joy that they bring home, and they remind you, and like, they bring it home with them, and it fills your house with it, and you sort of just remember all the love and the joy and the fun of it.
They've just had Purim as well, which is I know we did talk about this on the school one, but like, I still get that feeling at Purim on their behalf now. Yeah. Of like, this is the most exciting day when you get dressed up and you go into school and you see what, And
actually, my kids said to me, I said, it's nearly Pesach. And they went, oh, that's my favourite. I said, why is it your favourite? And Lily said, because I like that everybody comes, we do like a big Seder.
Yeah.
And she likes having a job and pointing. And then Mike said, I like standing on a chair and singing a song. I was like, all right, pal, we'll keep an eye on that, shall we?
But with Pesach as well, I remember vividly, like, so they've got this, at the school our kids go to, they've got this brilliant Ivrit teacher who is Israeli. She's called Nanette, and she's amazing. But she has quite a, not a strong Israeli accent, but she still got it. And as a result, our kids certainly Nat was like, when he learned Manishtana, he was like, Manishtana alayla azeh. He was saying it like a sort of shawarma cafe owner in kind of the Carmel
selling his wares.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was so sort of...
Well, Mikey picked up the tune, but hadn't quite got the words, so he styled it out last year and told everybody he was singing the Spanish version, including the Chabad rabbi who knocked on with some matzah for us. Was like, I'm going to do Spanish version, and then he's like, Spanish version. When things feel bleak, specifically in the Jewish world, and your kids run home, even if their bags are full of, what they call the
Gregors.
Yeah. Like, do you need this? Bin. But
we had a lot of fun with our with the little characters of Mordecai and Esther, and
put them straight in the recycling. That's nice.
Nice.
Yeah. So I was not going to remember these exist.
I really annoyed them all Saturday morning actually this week with them. Post Purim, but just sort of like refused to talk to them except through the medium of King Ahasuerus or Cousin Mordecai or Queen Esther.
Did you have voices for them?
Of course.
What's your Cousin Mordecai voice?
It was quite rabbinical and quite Mancunian and nasal.
And Ahasuerus?
It was very, very animated. King Ahasuerus. Yeah, I enjoyed that.
It was quite camp.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, the picture, if you've seen the picture of him,
he's
quite a camp-looking fella.
He's
jaunty. He's a bit sort of like the kind of cheeky fat Buddha they've gone with. Yeah, and then Haman just didn't even look human, but I suppose that's,
Yeah, that's deserved. So there we are. Well,
good start.
I mean, maybe that can be some premium content, you and the Purim.
Oh, sure, yeah. I'm thinking of becoming a Purim influencer. Okay, so my first one, what have I learned from my kids? More recently, I've learned that they hear everything. Mm-hmm. And you can't even, we seem to be getting more lax with what we talk about in front of them. I remember we not long ago, in the break that we had half term, and we went to Legoland.
Nice.
And Warwick Castle. That was a full-on combo.
Yeah.
And I think we were sat at breakfast, and we were in full sort of like princess mode with they knew we were going to a castle. We'd just come from Legoland where we'd stayed in like a sort of kingdom room there where they have it's just that's the theme of the room.
Sounds relaxing.
Absolutely beautiful. Really for me and Anna that was. And all of a sudden, Anna was just kind of scrolling on her phone and she just blurted out, "Oh, Prince Andrew's been arrested."
Ah.
And I think I said, "Wow," that's, kind of big news. But the kids were like, "Who's Prince Andrew? Why has he been arrested?" And it was a whole thing of having to sort of explain that princes and princesses are not necessarily just how they are in Rafi's Disney playbook.
Yeah.
And then we had to sort of explain that Andrew was a bad man who'd done some bad things.
Oh my God.
We didn't go into sort of detail, but it was kind of more and more we're sort of having to explain.
Well, Nat especially is a very curious little boy. I mean, I remember playing the Hamilton soundtrack to them in the car. Yeah. And Lily, I think this was when they were in reception. Admittedly, it's probably too young, but Lily was just in it for the tunes. But Nat was like, what are they using cannons for? And then, I was like, oh shit, I'm going to have to actually explain the Civil War. And then Lily got more into it. And then when she found out that his son died, I mean, that was a bad car journey. That was a really, yes. But you've got to be careful. They're getting to an age where they do ask a lot of questions.
Reading makes things sort of worse as well. The fact that they can read.
It's the year of trying to get kids to read.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Look, I'm not going to
anti-literacy
delay their reading skills. And there's lots of joy that it brings them and us reading. But Nat sort of when they've got a little library corner with some books and stuff in the school, and he picked up a book and read all about fucking global warming.
Oy.
And then that night, Anna was in his room and he was talking to Anna, and And about 20 minutes in, Anna sort of came and got me and was like, "You're going to have to help me out. Like, I don't, I'm out of my depth here." It was sort of bedtime. So they were we ended up all decamping to Rafi's little tent in her room. Whilst Nat...
Your bunker.
Yeah, exactly. Whilst Nat explained that he'd read in this book that the sun was going to die and he'd obviously got a little bit confused, but he was like, by the end of the first half of the 21st century.
I heard a sort of translation of this came back. Like, it was reported back that Nat said the sun was going to die in our house.
Right, yes. Okay, yeah. So he's obviously spreading the word, spreading the gospel. And this was before I got there. And Anna was like, "Yeah, but that's like in, that's in hundreds of years." And Nat was like, "No." And I was like, "No, it's in like 25 years. But that's not going to happen." I was like, "That's not the date." He was like, "But that's what I read and this, that, and the other." And I was like, "Don't worry." I was like, we were like, there's scientists working on it and we'll look into it tomorrow. But like, you don't need to worry about it. They're all the cleverest people are working on it. And we were like, and there's stuff that we can do. I was like, "Don't worry, there's stuff that we can do to help, with more recycling and, less air travel." And then Nat was like, "Oh, but there's loads of people travelling on planes."
Oh, God.
And then Rafi helpfully piped up going, "Yes, Nat, but they're not Jewish." I was like, "Okay, sure." She sort of really, as if she was like solving the problem, "But they're not Jewish, Nat." And yeah, it's just like we really sort of had to like talk him down off the edge. He was like, humanity's going to end.
Oh gosh.
So that sort of thing, their curiosity is unbelievable.
Side note of children learning to read, I am really enjoying Mikey learning to read, and I'm so grateful that we're moving back to Manchester at this precious time, because I love it when he talks about muffins.
I think we've had that book.
Using a jug to make muffins at the duck in the mud. And I'm like, Baruch Hashem, this is why we brought you home. But I see him, it gets more complex. They hear everything.
Also, I know, obviously, with swearing, we've talked about before, and your kids were big early adopters of swearing.
Well, that's
Lily.
kind. Yeah, in fact, funnily enough, Mikey's really... No, Jamie was incredibly proud when, Lily used, "It's pissing it down." She was like 2. She's like, "Well, he's just got it right." But Mikey's getting really into it, and we were at shul actually on Shabbos, and he was with not a good time. But he was talking to my nearly 13-year-old nephew, and he said, "Hey, Josh, I know the S word." And he went, "Go on then." He went, "Sugar pops." And then he went, "I know the B word." He went, "Right, go on then." Yeah, "Bugger." Okay. And then he went, "I know the F word." And Josh went, "All right then, go on." He went, "Shit." Not the smartest.
Amazing.
Actually, recently I said "oi oi oi" or something, and Mikey went, "Is that the B word?" And I said yes, and he went, Lily, the B word.
It's oi oi oi. Wow.
He's really not the sharpest.
Phenomenal.
Very sweet. But it's you don't really know what to do, because you're not meant to pay a lot of attention to it.
Yeah, you sort of don't want to dwell on it. But
also, if he goes into school and says, "Oi, bugger," well, it's not going to go down well, is it? And I've got a terrible potty mouth, as this
same.
As this podcast will attest. But I am trying hard as well.
We need to pretend that Rabbi Amir's in the room. Apparently, that was
yes,
a popular episode because there was less potty mouth.
But also, it's not. I was at shul on Shabbos, and the sermon was about the war and about anti-Semitism, and so I had to sort of distract. Because she could pick up things, and Lily's got a weird fear of volcanoes. I have no idea where that came from, but most times she'd be like, "There's no volcanoes here tonight." No, still no volcanoes.
Not tonight.
So that kind of censoring, and that came to the fore after Heaton Park as well. It's who knew what, and what are the kids going to come home with, and what do you say? And I know some parents had to have the conversation. We managed to sort of circumvent it for now. But it's
we had a thing with, and again, this shows Rafi listening to everything that Nat says, but sort of also interpreting it through a weird filter, because there was a time when Nat was struggling to sleep, and he was basically explaining to us how he was struggling to switch his brain off. And he was thinking lots of thoughts, some that he didn't want to think about, And I think there was one thing he was specifically worrying about, which he told us about. And Rafi had overheard this conversation, but hadn't cottoned on to what it was that was bothering him. But then that night, as I was putting her to bed, she was like, "I can't sleep. I'm thinking about what Nat's thinking about." I was like, oh, what is that? She was like, the thing that Nat's thinking about, that's what I'm thinking about. And I was like, but you don't know what that thing is? She was like, yeah, but I don't think I can sleep because that's what I'm thinking about. I'm like, for God's sake.
Oh my God, she's got you wrapped around her little finger.
She really does.
She's quite special.
But I'm also getting told off a lot for saying Hashem's name in vain. Like if I say like, oh, for God's sake or whatever, I'll get told off now.
That's funny. Mikey asked me yesterday, Mummy, who's in charge of the world? And I was like, oh, this is a good opportunity to say absolutely no one. Like, absolutely no one, just to sort of let's reduce the idea of a dictator. And he went, I know, Hashem. And I went, sure, let's just roll with it.
Yeah, it's easy.
We'll take that one.
It's useful in many ways.
I was trying to figure out if this one is wildly dissimilar between being Jewish and not Jewish. The passing on, the legacy, the sort of, the Matzos, the Manishtanas, the Ojiv Shalem, is like, I remember not long after October 7th, we just started singing a bit after Kiddush, Gesher Samayod, and these songs become part of your children's repertoire. And I was thinking, some non-Jewish people pass on nursery rhymes, and actually in my house, those two sometimes conflict. If I told you how Jamie thinks Bar Bar Black Sheep, the tune is Anim Zamira.
I've heard this. I mean, it's not.
But he cannot. I remember he was like, Lily was tiny and he was giving her a bath and he was singing, Bar Bar Black Sheep, have you any wool? Yes, sir. And I was like, Jamie, that's Anim Zamira. I was like, no, it's not. Bar Bar Black Sheep. And I was like, this is Bar Bar Black Sheep. This is Anim Zamira. It's like exactly the same. But anyway, so,
surprising that for Jamie when he's got a very musical ear.
I know he's like specifically melody blind on those two tunes. It's just, anyway. But passing on the songs, but they've been sung for like thousands of years. And recently we had one Kiddush and we did Ojiv Shalem. Started to break dance. She just started to break dance before it.
As you would.
And it's just, you're like, oh, maybe that's, I wonder if anybody ever thought that they'd see a 4-year-old break dancing to this particular tune. But it's just the absolute history that you imbue. And also sort of the sort of global sort of, in whatever country, he may end up at a Seder night or lighting a Hanukkah and he will know the song.
There will be some familiarity.
Yeah, wherever he is in the world.
I think yes, there's a sense of going back, kind of hundreds and thousands of years. But even I think just that reflection of your own childhood as well.
Yes.
I remember there's the gorgeous song that I love when my kids learned in nursery because they went to the shul nursery, is the Shavuot song. And there's not a lot of, Shavuot's sort of one that can go under the radar for a lot of people. But it's the song about Har Sinai, and it's like Hashem's choosing the mountain on which he's going to give the Torah, and it's like, it's not the biggest one, it's not the widest one, it's a little Har Sinai. And that song, I remember singing it as a kid, but also is just the cutest song to hear a young child sing. It gets to the point where you're hitting 7 and you're like, all right, mate, just let your sister do this one. But yeah, and that is another thing as well, is like, as the kids get to that older age, there is the point where they are clearly no longer cute to other people. And it's the law of sort of diminishing returns of when they're cute even to us as well. Yeah. But it's like there is that funny thing of sort of like
transition.
Yeah.
I've noticed it quite a bit with Lily, she's just got there's occasional these sort of tween or teenage inflections. Like we have it is March and we have a lovely camellia bush outside our house. So we drove it to the drive yesterday and I went, oh, look at our gorgeous camellia bush. I went, I'm obsessed with it. In terms of passing things on, I also think from a secular musical education, it still has an impact. Like I love it. Like Lily sings along to Fleetwood Mac, and I think this is I heard something on a podcast recently how our Gen Alpha, as our kids are, they will be sort of time blind when it comes to music because they just ask Alexa.
Yeah.
Whereas you don't have to watch On Top of the Pops or Smash Hits or whatever or read it.
That's interesting. Yeah.
And we're quite into sometimes it's gone a bit inappropriate. Mikey has a friend and Rafa has a friend called Ziggy.
Sure.
And naturally, I say naturally, but I do think it's something that I don't know if families beyond yours.
Ziggy, genuinely.
Correct. As and I so Jamie, every time Mikey mentions Ziggy, and I've told Ziggy's parents this, it's Ziggy, can't you see? And so Mikey's like, can I have the song?
It's a bit harsh because he does struggle with his eyesight, Ziggy. You should maybe have a think about that.
I tell you what I think about is playing Notorious B.I.G. as you're driving into school, because that is basically how it ended up. And I'm like, and then you try and put the radio version on, and it's still your daughter's tied up in a Brooklyn basement. So it's really inappropriate.
Not Uncle Moishe's basement.
But the best was do you remember when, this was before the little one started school, for some inexplicable reason, they had beatboxers and breakdancers come into
Yes,
school.
when you mentioned breakdancing before, that's where I thought of, is they brought
So Lily, for about a week, was obsessed with beatboxing. Tried to do
they're
it.
so shit at it.
It's so shit.
It's weird.
There was one... so weird, little Jewish
little white
Mancunian
kids can't do beatboxing.
Just don't have a natural talent for it. But I was driving into school, and for some reason she was in the front, and because it was only her, and so I decided to play her Razel. Do you know that famous live performance of "If Your Mother"?
Yes, yeah.
And he sings the verse and the chorus at the same time.
Yeah.
And I played that for her, and I explained, I was like, this is him singing the words, this is him doing the beat, and he's going to do both at the same time.
Sure.
And when the beat dropped, her face, it was 1 million fireworks went off in her head as she realised what was going on and what was coming out of the stereo. It was unbelievable. I cried. Listener, I cried. I know, and it's these unexpected moments where you this is something that I am teaching you.
Yeah.
I am actively passing on the wonder of
I get it fairly. So I've got a jumper from there's a local he's in the Alti Market, local sort of designer, and he does jumpers with sort of northern things on them. So I've got one with the Stone Roses lyric, "I want to be adored." And as a result, the kids now know, because they've asked me sort of what it says and stuff, if they see me wearing it, or occasionally just with nothing at all, they'll just be like, I wanna be adored. And your heart does slightly buzz, because you're you're doing something cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Similarly with Oasis, that we listen to a lot of Oasis, over the summer.
Yeah.
And when they start picking that up, and
Well, my kids refuse to call Oasis. They insist on calling them Liam and Noel.
First name.
It's because Jamie has now taught Lily which one's the Liam songs and which one's the Noel. Whose voice is this? Who's what? Again, that's his joy.
Nice.
He loves,
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
I know. So I don't know what our lesson is, except
it's the power of Jewish legacy / history. That's what I've got written down here. And I want to be adored. Lovely. So I've got the joy of siblings, but also the flip side of that as well. It's a real double-edged sword. I mean, there is nothing better than when they are playing together nicely, and they're at that age where they can sort of disappear for hours now and just be in a more, we found, and I know we're lucky in this sense. And if that gets anyone's back up, I can tell you in ways which we're not lucky. No, we're very lucky regardless. But they, on a weekend morning, they'll get up, they'll wake us up, but then they'll go off and play for an hour and a half. And,
you're not asleep?
Yeah, which is amazing.
Incredible. Wait, what? Do you have to feed them?
No, amazingly, we've pushed it, and they can wait till 10 o'clock to be fed on a Shabbos morning.
Mazel's hours, that's massive.
Yeah, so that is absolutely joyful. And when you just sort of catch sight of them, when we might be saying we need to do this with them, or we need to get them out, and kind of thing. But then you'll look and you'll see them playing, and you'll think actually they're happy, and we can just sort of get on. And that feels like a real landmark moment. And we try, but the flip side is they argue when they bicker about absolutely everything. My personal bugbear is when they argue over who's got the bigger vitamin. They're made in a fucking factory. They are literally mass produced. They could not be more identical. Yet every day they'll be measuring them, going
oh my God.
And occasionally one of them will have the absolute sort of beautiful moment. They go, you can have the bigger one today. And I'm there's literally not a bigger one. And everything's a competition. Raph might catch sight of Nat putting his pajamas on and be I can beat him. Hey, I can beat him. And then all of a sudden they're in a race to the...
everything, Mikey's got a real mushy gas, and this is actual definition of mushy gas. He you know how sometimes if you park somewhere and it's easier to get out one door because he doesn't want Lily to come out of his side of the door. You might have caught sight of this happening in the school drop-off. It's not a thing, Mikey.
Yeah.
You don't own this entryway into and out of the car. It's just such. Anything. Again, it can go from gorgeous singing along together in the back of the car, having a lovely time, making each other laugh, to fighting over who gets out of what door.
Yeah. And then they can surprise you and they can do something really sweet. Like, you know, like Raf used to do baking at nursery on like a Wednesday and she'd like save half of her cake for Nat. Yeah. And then the other day on the way back from drama, Nat was like, I've got something for Rafi. I think she's really going to like it. It's a third of a Lotus biscuit. I was like, oh, wow. You generous bastard. But
the thought was there.
Absolutely. But it is, it's sweet though. Like we've tried to sort of imbue in them that they are going to be like, they're constant, you know, like they're always going to kind of be there. But occasionally you find yourself shouting that at them and you're like, you need to love each other. But that's what I've learned from them recently it can be very beautiful and very annoying at the same time.
All within.
But yeah, long may it continue.
Yes. Talking of time, nothing has messed with my sense of time quite like having children.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because you know, when I lived with Stace in my 20s, I was very much like a Monica, like, you know, stickler for time. And they're like schlepping her through airports, running to gates unnecessarily. It wasn't like the plane was taking off and her being rightly annoyed with me. But
I still do that.
Yeah. But now, like, I call it, depending on, you know, how, like, you know, whether it's before the 9 o'clock watershed or afterwards, like the FAT, they are the faffing around tax or the fucking around tax on time. There is always like, you know, you're like, I've got to leave the house. I've got to be there for 10. There's a lost 20 minutes wherever we go. Maybe I've got it down to 10 now, where there's just fucking around.
Yeah.
You've got to incorporate the fucking around tax in everything. But obviously I don't, and I think I can get them out the house at this time. And like, it's just, we have swimming lessons at 2 o'clock every Saturday, and often that is the only thing we have, like, scheduled. Yeah. We're always fucking late. Why are we always late? We're not doing anything else.
I struggle with it. This is like one of my biggest struggles.
It is unfathomable how. And I remember weirdly getting my nails done at somewhere once and talking about getting out of the house. I only used to say it once. I only used to say, put on your shoes. I refused to say it again. And I was like,
Who told you that?
The woman doing my nails. She had older kids by this point. But I was like, I don't know how you ever got out of the house. No. Because I have to say it at least 17 times.
That's my biggest bugbear is the shoes.
Yeah.
We were getting out for football yesterday. I was like, Nat, put your football boots on. Nat, put your football boots on. He's obviously put the wrong shoes on. Nat, take your shoes off, put your football boots on. Put your football boots on. Oh, I forgot. And then like halfway through, he'll start asking me the most inane question about something else. And then that's the sort of like, just you wait. But my biggest fear is just you wait until they're wearing shoelaces. Like at the moment, they can literally just stick their foot in a shoe.
Well, Lily actually begged me. She needs new trainers and she begged me for shoelace trainers.
Wow.
And she actually needs, like, her PE trainers do actually have holes in.
Sure.
And I said, you can't have them for
such a big PE. Yeah.
Well, she wears them all for everything.
Yeah.
And so I actually said, you cannot have shoelaces on a school day. No shoelaces allowed.
I can't handle it.
So I actually said, we'll have to check with Daddy because I don't think he could handle it either. Like, no, shoelaces are for weekends only.
Yeah, like
again,
it's hard
so we'll
enough.
be another 20 minutes late for swimming.
Yeah.
But it's. But yes, at the same time, and this is the cliche of it all, and it is the sort of just you wait element of it. But I cannot fathom that our eldest is starting junior school. That's like the time has gone. It was 5 minutes ago where we do this thing with our kids where every year the two of them stand next to each other and say, we're starting reception, we're starting year one. And I blinked, and she's now going into junior school and saying things like, I'm obsessed with it. and I don't know what to do with it. And I know like there's a wobble over our youngest starting reception, but actually it's the elder two that slightly frighten me the most, because I'm watching her become, like, she's not a little girl. We've got my nephew's bar mitzvah coming up, and I was like looking for a dress for her, and I was looking at all these frou-frou things, and she ain't fucking wearing a frou-frou dress. Like, get over it. She's nearly 8, sort of. And I just...
Nat was driving me mad for a bank account yesterday.
What do you mean?
Oh my God. I don't know. It's someone on the bus who's in the year above had told them they got a bank account with £1 million in it. I was like, that person's lying.
Number one.
Yeah. But he was telling me that, you know, like he got it in his head that he wants a bank account. And then he had a lot of questions about banks and how the money doesn't get stolen and how the people could just work there and get stolen. He was like, I'm starting to feel bad about the idea of a bank account, but my head's telling me that I do want a bank account. I'm like, oh my word. Anyway, yeah.
I don't think that's a typical interchange with a 7-year-old, just so you know.
No, sure, I can imagine that. Yeah,
special.
yeah, probably.
I love
yeah,
it. I love it. Bless him. Can't wait to see what Nat ends up doing.
Oh my God, it could be anything. This episode of Nisht For Me is brought to you by Cooker.
As you've known me a very long time now, and you know that I'm not great in the kitchen, let's just call it.
Hey!
Oh.
Did that sound reassuring enough? Hey! No, you're a very good hostess. Very good hostess.
I've been told I'm good at crisps and dips.
And drinks.
Oh yeah, I'm good at drinks.
Soft and hard.
But I have actually been told recently I'm getting into my soup era.
Oh.
I don't know if it's age, I don't know if it's just like, you know, Balabuster DNA finally kicking
Perimenopause.
in. My perimenopausal soup era
Right.
has finally happened. And I would say that, like, key to that is my hot water tap, my cooker tap.
Yeah.
It makes
nice.
dumb like cooks like me. It makes things a lot easier when you're like, oh God, panicking in a recipe. Oh no, God, I should have dissolved the stock. Blah blah. Done.
Yeah, anything for time saving.
Exactly. Also, very helpful when you should never overestimate the power of cutting time off making a hangry kid's pasta tea.
Yeah. I have to cut time off the back end of the meal by just taking it away from them to get them upstairs to the bath. So if you can do it off the prep, that's better. Surely,
Yeah.
for everyone.
Imagine how useful it would have been when they were babies and you could have made baby bottles in half the time. And then you wouldn't have that baby screaming down your ear. No, so I mean, I find it really useful. It's one of those things that you don't think you can't imagine it.
I can imagine. It's on the wish list.
Oh, well, please God buy you, Az.
Thanks.
It actually also looks really nice, I think.
Yeah, very smart.
It's a design, but I've got a nice patinated brass number. Actually, they've got a square flex version of the patinated brass out now.
Are you flirting with them?
So, if you are interested in a cooker tap,
Get yourself to cooker.co.uk.
explore the range and book a virtual demonstration and find the right cooker tap that's for you and your home.
So my third one this is one of my favourite lessons, is that unexpected laughs are the best and can puncture any moment of, if you're feeling low or whatever. Like, it just absolutely, sort of shows the brightness. I was saying, we had this half-term trip to Legoland and Warwick Castle, and the excitement got too much for Rafi, and she shat herself at one point. Not during the day. It was a dramatic poo.
This is where we're still, we're still not out of,
And it was timed fairly well. We just got back to the room, so it was like perfect. It wasn't like in the middle of the theme park. No, exactly.
To a ride.
But both Anna and I were sort of kind of quite stressfully showering shit off Rafi.
I mean, I don't think there's a relaxing way to do that.
No, absolutely not. But it was awkward because it was like one of those showers that's in a bath, and there was like a fixed bit, so we had to like get round, and Anna was, I was like holding the shower and Anna was doing the legs, and then all of a sudden...
Do you remember holidays before kids?
We'd just come back from Warwick Castle, and the kids we'd ended up buying them like bits of what we'd sort of, in the great gift shop there, they both decided what they wanted to go as for Purim. So we'd bought Nat like a little suit of armour thing that was like a helmet and a sword and a shield and a like breastplate thing.
Nice.
And Rafi had got like a crown and and thingy and the rest of it. And so we're in the middle of showering shit off her, and then all of a sudden, like, Nat bursts in with his helmet, his breastplate, his sword, his shield, and nothing else. So, like, schmeckle hanging out. And we both turned around, and normally, like, if he'd, like, interrupted at that point, I might have, like, snapped him or something, but we both just turned around and just started pissing ourselves laughing. Like, and I think he's at the age where he knew that was funny as well. Like,
Sorry, how do little boys have this instinct that getting their schmeckle out is for laughs? Like, Mikey learned that from a very early. Like, look at me, baby. Like, is that somewhat in your DNA? Does that come with testosterone?
I don't know, but it absolutely sort of, took us out of the moment and made us realise, okay, we're actually having a lovely time.
I cannot wait to pay this back to him at his bar mitzvah.
The other one, actually, with Rafi, although this is more on me, actually. So we were in Legoland, which is great. Highly recommend it. Maybe a future sponsor, who knows? We, at one point, we sort of split up because Nat wanted to go on a ride that Rafi couldn't go on, and I was with Rafi. And all of a sudden, I was struck with a case of I need a toilet right now myself.
Right.
And I was with Rafi, so I couldn't leave her. So one of Rafi's favourite rides at Lego was the Daddy Poo ride, where she had to come in a cubicle with Daddy and observe and soak it all in whilst Daddy, absolutely had a shocker.
In the cubicle.
In the cubicle, yeah. Now, it was a family cubicle, so there was more space than normal.
She could twirl.
Yeah, and she really was. She was doing it all.
I can envision.
But also there was a point where she was sort of leaning back against the outer wall, probably to try and get as far back away from me as possible.
That would have given you the
And her hair set off the hairdryer, which gave her a shock, which gave me a shock, which led to one of the biggest bumps in the Daddy Poo ride. But thankfully it was all right. But she didn't stop talking about it.
Just slightly, like a side note. Again, I'm not sure because our families spend so much time together that I don't know if other families spend as long talking about poo and farts.
We've talked about it, yeah.
I don't know. Like, actually, Lily did say to me, because nearly every song, and again, you do this, where you change the words to a song. Like, that's just a natural thing. But we've got like, Daddy, Daddy Poo. Daddy. Sure. And literally Lily said, why does Daddy always sing about poo?
Because it's funny. It's as simple as that.
Do write in.
It's an easy win.
But again, because outside of my family, it's your family.
I've realised that all three of the points I put down for this are poo or bum related.
Yeah.
Like literally the other day in Nat's room, like I was stressed getting them into bed. Nat hadn't been listening. He was completely hyper. He hopped and skipped into his room and I was just trying to calm him down, and then he tripped himself up, fell over, landed on the floor and then farted immediately. And again, we both just shared a moment where we really laughed. But then 10 minutes later, the key thing is that he'd then go, Daddy, do you remember the time when I fell on the floor and farted? I was like, yes, it was 10 minutes ago. Of course I remember. But yeah, so unexpected laughter.
Core memory.
Yeah. It's when they can puncture what can feel like the daily slog.
Yeah.
And you just think, oh yeah, these guys are fun.
Yeah.
They're fun
Sometimes it's inappropriate. Like Lily, Mikey was chasing Lily the other night after bath, and she climbed up on top of it. She just fell off. It's just like, I ain't got to be really cross, but also cross crying with laughter because just the way she plopped. When they fall off the bed and then they reappear, but in absolute distress, and you're like, hold it together, man.
A comedy fallout.
I mean, it's a not entirely different point, but a slight sort of derivation.
Yeah.
Thank you. Of the point is that the sheer pleasure and amusement that comes from tiny people mispronouncing things.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it is just and also I just try really hard not to correct it, to keep it for as long as possible. You want to keep it,
yeah.
Because we've had Fire and G-mans and Lalabinas and
Lalabinas?
Ballerinas.
Oh, yeah.
This is when she was really little. The alarma went off,
Yeah.
Mikey goes, remember that time? And I'm like, yeah, I do remember it.
Yeah, you just absolutely nurture that.
We were on holiday and I said, what time do you think you woke up this morning? He doesn't know how to tell the time, so it's a bit of a pointless question. And he ran into to look at his clock, and it was 8:22. I remember 8:22. It's so good. And his fist bumps are piss bumps, which we enjoy.
Yeah.
But it has a certain extra piquance when it's Yiddish. It's I love that he. Well, it's not actually. It's when they say Yiddish. Like I call him a schmerel pop. So he calls everybody a schmerel pop. I remember he must have been here for tea. Maybe it was Lily then. I said, what did you have for tea? She went Auntie Anna's schnitzels.
I used to love it with Nat when he was really little, and we'd be in the park, and he was a very outdoorsy kid, and he'd go, oh look, Daddy, I got a dick, and he'd pick up a stick, and I'd just encourage him. I was like, is it a fat dick or a long dick?
And I'd be like, Arron.
Yeah, and he'd be like, oh, it's a long dick, Daddy. Oh, look at that fat dick, and I'd be like, yeah, that's some good clean fun.
It's very adorable.
But there's still, it's the stuff that's lasted. You're absolutely right, not wanting to correct.
Don't want to correct.
Anna and I have discussed that, so Nat still thinks that when you go on holiday, you pack a suitcase, and we basically have talked quite a lot about ideally him finding that out on his first lad's holiday, that's not what it is. If we can keep it going till then, will be very happy. And he still thinks it's a Scoob driver.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and but my favourite one is he heard me say, I think, you know how kids can be like obsessed with like death and stuff, and they can just say things like, oh, what if like Rafi dies, and I'd be like, I'd sort of say like, oh, God forbid, kind of thing, and I'd said that a few times, like, oh, don't talk about that, or God forbid, or whatever, and he has somehow picked up, he's like, oh, Daddy, God forbid. But it really cracks me up, and he still does it every so often. He'll be like, I'm not thinking about this, God forbid. But it's just like, what is happening? And, I can't bring myself to thing. And Rafi's got a couple. She's got wardrobe, which is quite cute.
Yeah.
And the other one though that still cracks me up as she says this a lot. She's like, she is my best friend in the whole tired world. And I refuse to correct that as well.
The whole tired world. I mean, that's quite on point, I think.
Yeah.
She's got it
in the whole tired world.
The whole tired world. Yeah. The last one is Mikey's. Mikey has to wear a kippat for school. Like a cow hat. And wait, again, not correct.
Very enjoyable though, yeah. I love
really
that.
Good. A sort of, again, an unexpected source of joy that can just, brighten your day.
Absolutely. Right, where am I up to? Okay, this has been more of a serious one, but it's hard.
Yeah, man.
They're so complex.
Yeah.
And I think they do, you realise daily, they hold a mirror up to the best and the worst of you as well, like watching them. You sort of see, there's that constant fear of fucking them up. Like, and you sort of, I think on the plus side, you need to kind of, remember they're not the same as we were as kids.
Yeah.
Like they don't, I might think like, oh, kind of like they don't necessarily react in the same way as we would have done as kids. And that should be a point of like, oh, okay, fine. They got, it doesn't mean that just because I've got an issue with that doesn't mean that they're going to have an issue with that.
Yeah.
But you do just realise just how sort of like fragile they are as well, and just how, so it's just that thing of how complex kids are really.
Yeah.
Like there's no sort of like, I've not got the answer here.
No.
But just that realisation that, they've got the absolute power to both wound you by saying something that they're not even, they're not thinking about, but also to lift you up beyond anything else.
Yeah.
Like they can just do it with a little turn of phrase or a little thought that's on their mind.
I genuinely think the sort of pressure on parenting, I do think that's an affliction of modern parenting.
Yeah.
I think we overthink
100%.
because we are constantly bombarded. Let's attribute it to social media again, because it's the source of all ills. The right way to parent, gentle parenting, like gentle parenting's gone too far, and like there's this like faffo parenting, this fuck about find out parenting, teach them consequences,
right.
And what they shouldn't eat and what they should eat, sort of ultra processed foods, but like you are constantly bombarded about in a way that I don't think previous generations were on the right way to parent, and it just doesn't exist.
No,
and I think that parenting as a sort of like vocation that's only really a modern phenomenon, really, and children being seen and not heard. It's not that long ago, and so I just think so. As a result, we've given ourselves anxiety about something that is largely, look, a lot is in our control, but a lot of the time, and I think I talked about this. Perhaps on our first episode, for like a control freak like me, my biggest learning curve of being a parent is that you cannot control it from conception onwards. A lot of it is in the hand of the gods. Like you just got to, but that doesn't sit well with a sort of a generation that are constantly being told that you have to sort of optimize it to the nth degree.
And this is the bad thing that comes about from this. Or this is
exactly.
The bad thing that comes about from that.
I mean, this faffo parenting. A lot of the stuff about that is like, the reason Gen Z is so shit is because they've never been told no, like, and it's like, oh God, they've got to have a, resilience, and if they're going to survive in this world, they've got to have a best, but they've got to be kind, and they've got to be gentle, and they've got to be polite, and, and like that, and it's too much. And at the end of the day, like, if your kid is happy doing whatever then honestly, I just think, well done. Well done. You've got through another day, and your kid's laughing or smiling or whatever. Take it as a win and forget everything else. Much easier said than done. And Jamie listened to this being like, you freaked out on many occasions about, but it's just, if that is a hard lesson in itself of like, trying to shut out all the noise and focus on you and your children. And to be honest, the story of you playing Purim puppets on a Shabbos morning, I mean, like, that's like a gift.
It's focusing on that rather than the umpteen times that I'll shout at them, you know, to get them out of the door kind of thing. I think it's the sort of putting it in perspective, which is so much easier said than done, is kind of like looking at, you know, we're very lucky as well in that, you know, we're not the product of bad parenting. Like, no one's parents are perfect. But we're also not, on no scale are we bad parents. Not like, you know, if you look at the scale of, like, you know, some people who really should not be parents. I'm talking about like the extreme end of like proper wrong-uns. Like, we're a million miles for that, and we are just sort of trying our best. And I guess it's occasionally trying to sort of just remind yourself of that. It's that kind of
and forget the point that we're mining them for content.
Absolutely.
So let's just ignore that.
I'm
sure
absolutely.
That's
I think I've talked about most of Nat's shits in the last 3 series of Nisht For Me that he's had in his life.
But, you know, we're not fucking them up, so it'll be fine.
Absolutely, it's fine. We've got sponsorship from Cooker. It's fine.
What means you can get some hot water instantly to sanitise. Oh, right. I'm sure that's what they asked for, didn't they?
They said mention your kid's shit as much as possible.
Specifically, that was a talking point I wanted us to cover. Talking of modern parenting, I think my last lesson, or, you know, that I've realised over the past 7.5 years, well, to 8, because, like, as in when I was pregnant as well, is just how much it has changed generationally, and how much, like, how involved and thoughtful and, you know, overthinking is involved on your part. I mean, that is wildly different to a lot of men a generation before us, you know, and the change has been so rapid that I think sometimes that sort of intergenerational conflicts is maybe too strong a word, but it's failure to see eye to eye because we're just doing it so differently. You know, men and women, although not like, it's a lot of the time it's not entirely equal, but sometimes it's the, you know, the man's taking more of the role, and that's not unusual these days. And, you know, and women, and we're splitting it, and it is so that people can't get their head around it. I remember, like, when Lily was born and saying to my mum, well, she's in the room with me, you know, and she said, what about Jamie? You'll wake Jamie up. She'll wake Jamie up. I'm like, give a fuck. He's going to school. He's going to school. He's going to work. He's like piecing out, and I'm at home with the baby all day. And like, actually, Jamie sleeps through, you know, through a tornado. But like, she was just like completely. And actually, even before Lily, this was a real sort of enlightening moment for me. We had Emma Schock, Nay Levine, friend of the pod,
Indeed.
And her husband and her 2 young kids then, her eldest has just been bat mitzvahed, over for brunch at my mum's. I remember this so clearly. It's before I had kids. So she had 2 fairly young kids. And it was for bagels on a Sunday. And like, after my mum said, oh, Alex, her husband, oh, he's very hands-on. I was like, sorry, mum, you want her to have both kids on a knee and like try and shove a bagel in her mouth? Like, but he's very hands-on. He held a baby at one point, like, and like, because I think that's probably the first time that she had seen that generation parent, and it was completely mind-blowing for her.
Yeah, well, I remember being stopped on the street so after Nat was born, and I actually took quite a while off work and was like, you know, would be pushing him around in the pram on a, you know, sort of daily basis, and I remember being stopped by like older women on the street. Oh, it's so nice to see a man, you know, pushing, and I was like, okay, thanks. And I would probably get a little boost and be like, I know,
and I'm like, see any woman that fucking sees it. No, I mean, and it's still, like, I actually think I went into parenting, well, specifically sort of maternity leave, with an old-fashioned mindset. And actually, I would do it a bit differently. Even though there was shared parental leave on offer, like, when I had it, I didn't really pursue it or explore it properly. I just was like, oh no, I'll take a year. And I really shouldn't have taken a year. I would have been like,
it's tough, maternity
it's hard
leave.
and it's boring. Sorry, it's just so
especially
dull.
Towards the second half of it as well, like when you if you do this way as we sort of did, you know, like I would come home at the end of the day and like Nat would be like so excited to see me because he's not seen me for like, you know, that's like a huge thing.
I know.
And like Anna's the one who's been with him all day, and I'm the one getting all the nice bits.
I know. I kind of dismissed shared parental leave because I just assumed that like they would get the last bit, which is the good bit, you know, because you'd have to, because, you know, you'd be recovering and maybe breastfeeding, whatever. But actually, I've seen people do it where they dip in and dip out and overlap. Oh, that's what I would have done.
Yeah.
I would have had shorter, and I would have had Jamie off at around the 4 or 5 month. That, and like, I would have done it. But obviously, once you've done it for one and then had this mother's guilt, like, well, I've got to take a year for Mikey, even though I've learned that lesson. So I also, I carried this thing, and maybe there was a little bit of me that was like, had that societal pressure of like, the woman, must do it. Yeah. So it's still not completely gone. I actually find I am a better parent once I've spent a little bit of time away from my children. Yes, it's a really hard gig. So hats off to anybody who's doing it and getting through it, and and just sort of making the sort of juggle work in modern life, and keeping your head up and keeping positive. And then sometimes you have these existential moments where the world's going to pot, and you're like, what do I have kids for? Exactly. What are they going to inherit? But then you push that aside, because Nat will get his schmeckle out and everybody will laugh. The end.
Very nice. And to continue that serious and lovely and thoughtful theme, my final one is that glitter is the fucking devil. I hate it so much, and I know that there is a man in your house who feels equally strongly.
One of our most serious talks in our marriage has revolved around glitter. I've had to say, like, Jamie, you have a little girl. There will be glitter. It's time to get used to it.
It's the worst, though. I know, and no one else will ever notice this, but there are like pieces of glitter embedded in our kitchen floor.
That's Jamie's argument. It never disappears.
Never. You can't get rid of it. And now they come home with like glitter face paint. Yeah. And you've basically got to like get sandpaper to get it off their face. And they're like, oh, Daddy, it hurts. I was like, oh, don't get the glitter one then. All of this. I think it is mostly the girls. And I think this is my sort of like Michigas as well. But like, Rafi's got she's like become a very girly girl.
Yes.
And she came back yesterday, she had her nails painted at a friend's house. And she came back, and I've noticed a few times now, because nail varnish is a newer thing that she's got excited by. And it's fucking weird, kids' nail varnish, because it comes off in the bath.
Yeah, it peels
like,
off.
Sort of peels off. And it's really weird. And I'm like, is this going to clog up the drain? Is this going to think it? But then there's nothing weirder than having to peel off one of your daughter's nails from your son's penis. And that's just quite a weird thing, where I was like, oh, you could just do without this.
It's not where I thought this was going.
No, but like, I was worried it was going to clog up his...
Well, I mean, just you and Jamie do share this sort of aversion to mess.
Yeah, but I think both, to an extent, both my mum and dad would neat tricks. So like, we weren't messy kids. And I remember vividly like Nat being in the park once when he was really little, but could understand. We were in like Stamford Park, gorgeous park, was at the end of our road, and he was wearing like quite a nice outfit, for whatever reason. It was like a hand-me-down from Isaac.
More for you.
Yeah, absolutely. But like, he came down a slide and he fell in the mud, and my instinct was, oh, Nat, your mum's going to kill you. And I had stopped myself, and I was like, first of all, Anna wouldn't give a shit. She was brought up, an outdoorsy kid, and like, she wouldn't care. She'd just be like, oh, it's a little bit annoying, but we'll wash it and it'll be fine. And I actually stopped myself in the moment. I was like, I don't know why I said that, Matt. Mummy's going to be absolutely fine.
Yeah.
I was like, and I'm fine. It's okay. It's not, it's like, enjoy yourself kind of thing.
Me and Anna are much more chill than you and Jamie about this stuff. I distinctly remember when we were living in London, and we got to that point of COVID where we were slightly bubbling up. And you came to our garden. I don't remember that our gorgeous childminder would send home activities.
Yes, yeah.
And there was...
a gardening one, was it?
The gardening one, the soil. And the kids were in their nappies.
Yeah.
They were about 18 months old, and they were so happy. I mean, it did look like mud wrestling by the end of it.
Yeah.
But you and Jamie were like, literally both having some simultaneous panic attacks. And they were, and the kids were just so happy messing around. And it's not like we had a few inches of AstroTurf as a garden. It wasn't like they were like messing up this gorgeous garden. It was just, and I distinctly remember it arriving and Jamie going, oh no.
That was my reaction too. It's sort of like, oh mess. It's like when they come home from a school trip with slime or kinetic sand. Kinetic sand does not stick together. Kinetic sand is almost as bad as sand, which is almost as bad as glitter.
Yeah.
And stick-on tattoos as well. That like, I'm sure Rafi's had a tattoo for like the last month or so that just hasn't come off her arm. And we wash her every night, pretty much.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, that's something I've learned. Glitters.
And right. And sorry, I don't know if yeah, no, and that's it. So
Thanks.
we should really think of a new way to end it.
And that's it. Join us next time for more cooker-related poo fun.
I think we've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
How hard it is, how fun it is, how joyous it is, how funny it is, how dirty it is.
Yeah.
It reveals so much about ourselves as life goes on. Just you wait until they get older.
Yeah.
And God knows what's coming next. So let's not even talk about mobile phones. But like, I'm hoping by the time we get to that point, the pendulum would have like swung and nobody's having mobile phones.
It's not a problem anymore.
No,
and they won't be replaced by another problem. That'd be crazy.
Okay, so I think we've come to the end of it.
Yeah.
Let's do our Nisht For Me's. On theme.
On theme, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I've just glitter and party accoutrement.
Okay, Nisht For Me, and actually this is going to sound very gender normative, is that Mikey has just sort of discovered football.
Sure.
And just kicking it around the kitchen. And I know it's an indoor ball, and everybody says, it's not the leather ball. I'm like, no, I know it is a plastic ball, but it is just, my nerves are on edge, everything. Every time I'm like trying to like get tea ready, and there's just bloody balls flying around, and like they're swacking, and I'm like on the floor, Mikey, on the floor, and he's like, all right, and then he drop kicks it, and I'm like, and it goes everywhere, and I'm meant to be encouraging an active lifestyle, but I'm like, just sit down and watch TV.
Yeah, absolutely. Just do everyone a favour and watch some TV. Do something sedentary. So all that is left for us to say is Ein Colahéinu Adon Olam.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
We hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
There's plenty more to come of fun and games, maybe less so of Nat's feces.
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, poor kid.
I know. Yes, like, subscribe, spread the word, share.
Buy cooker. I think is that, yeah. We are seamless.
Until then.
Bye.
Bye.